All right, everyone. Welcome back to Bold Like a Leopard and the Razor Sharp News Chronicle. We are going to do a year end wrap up special dedicated to the last article of the year on Razor Sharp News Chronicle. I also have another article that appeared earlier this month for American Greatness regarding the crisis in Ukraine. So I never covered that one, but I think it actually it has a lot of information that has come true. Namely, that the Biden administration is basically trying to make it seem as if it is going to do something regarding Russian actions in Ukraine, when in reality where they don't have how to do it, and they don't really have the willpower to do anything, nor should they, in my opinion. So a lot of what they have been talking about with respect to Ukraine has been just a lot of posturing and looking tough for the cameras and trying to say, oh, we're the real reasonable people who are going to stand up to Putin, when in reality they're the reasonable people who are going to cock to Putin because they don't actually have any plan. So, one second, let me just start the recording so I can re upload this to BitChute. So, the latest article is called Is President Lamebrain Really a Lame Duck? And I go through a lot of the frustrations, and I don't even try to make it only a partisan issue. If you have followed the past year under President Biden, and even if you're a person who fully accepted or voted for him and were expecting some sort of progress under his administration, the reality of the matter is that it's been a huge and total. It's been just a mess. Everything has gone wrong for him. The domestic agenda is completely stalled. There's not going to be any student loan forgiveness. He's done student loan moratoriums. One of the articles that I wrote in August with reference to the I think it was, oh yeah, it was the eviction moratorium. That was another defeat that people don't really remember at this point because there have been so many. But if you have forgotten about it, in the summer, as the eviction moratorium was about to expire, the Biden administration attempted to expand it or extend it by executive order, and the Supreme Court said no because finally the case had arrived at their feet, and they said, well, we allowed this to go on because we were willing to hear it out and see if Congress would extend it, and then Congress didn't extend it, and the Supreme Court ended it. So it's been defeat after defeat on that note. With regards to the vaccine mandates, people have now forgotten about Afghanistan. People have forgotten about a number of major defeats on the policy front with regards to Joe Biden. So the question is becoming more apparent all the time. Is Biden actually a lame duck? Meaning, is he somebody who is he's in office, but he doesn't actually have the power to do anything substantive with the rest of his time. So, if you are in the chat, by the way, or you're watching this on YouTube, there is a poll. It'll only be up for the duration of the live stream. It says, should Bold Like a Leopard slash the Razor Sharp Reports start a TikTok channel? So the options are yes, no, or TikTok is gay. Shut the fuck up, Ray. And you can see from those options where my sentiments lie. Um, Basically, we are entering an era, or we have entered the era a long time ago, where a lot of the effects on public opinion are no longer made by people with official titles like, you know, NBC News correspondent or TV anchor or what have you, because social media has changed a lot, and so people have brought up, where is the most valuable place to actually have your views shared and everything. And some people are still saying TikTok. I'm very skeptical of that, but it is a good question. Where should most efforts be spent? And in my opinion, certainly Rumble will become and already has become a major place where people go in order to see videos that in the past they would see on YouTube. So I do encourage you to subscribe to me on Rumble, BitChute, and Odyssey, the video channels. All of the links are in the description, and you can find me on the other social media, MindsGab and Telegram. And also you can find the link to the newsletter below as well. This newsletter deals with the past year of the Biden administration, and certainly everybody's become acquainted with the "Let's Go Brandon" phrase, which is certainly making it hard for the Biden administration to make the pop culture breakthrough. You have to remember that presidents who have been considered successes, regardless of the fact that in many cases they are failures, often get that reputation simply because of the way that the media and the culture views them. A good example is JFK. JFK actually was a very unsuccessful president, but because of the whole mystique of Camelot and his wife Jackie and all of the other people who were just very chic within the Kennedy administration and made it seem like just this very stylish group to be in. And the fact that he made the big moonshot saying, "Oh, we're going to go to the moon in X number of years." Um, so President Kennedy is considered a success also because he was assassinated. So people tend to question what would have been if if JFK had survived, what would have happened? And therefore, he's considered a success not by virtue of what he accomplished, but by virtue of his personal image and the feeling that there was a lot of lost potential in his death. If you really look at his accomplishments, he was a failure on many fronts, and he got us into Vietnam. Um, but with regards to Biden, you already have within 1 year, you have enough evidence that he is a failure in terms of policy. That's evident from Afghanistan. That's evident from his interactions with other world leaders like Vladimir Putin, who I believe will probably outsmart him and get um, further encroachments into Ukraine and win this so called battle of the superpowers between the U.S. and Russia, because there is no appetite for war between the United States and Russia, and no appetite for any type of intervention, and Biden knows it. So it's all for show. What about his domestic accomplishments? So he had the American Rescue Plan, and he had the Investment and Jobs Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act, and neither of those has really broken through. But on the other hand, we talk about the culture front with people like JFK having successes. You have Bill Clinton certainly being a success on the culture front due to his magnetic personality and the fact that he was on the Arsenio Hall show and the stupid saxophone scene and going to Arkansas Razorback games, and it was seen as this fun-loving younger president at the time compared to Bush and Reagan, who had just been in office, who were from the World War II generation. So Biden is seen as basically already too old for the job. He came into office much older than Reagan, and he certainly has much energy than Donald Trump, who came right before him. And so while he passed a couple of bills that were largely a result of bipartisan corruption, meaning that there are plenty of Republicans who are willing to accept free money in order to make this pretense that they're getting things done in Washington, while in reality all they're doing is spending more. Biden, he's not getting any positive. He's not getting any positive rubbing off from that. He's basically being seen as some sort of incompetent buffoon. He's had three nominees to executive offices who have failed because of lack of Democratic support. And by lack of Democratic support, I mean usually it's Joe Manchin and a handful of other senators like Kirsten Sinema and John Tester. But that's enough. All you need is one, by the way. Um, Black Hebrew Israelite says, "You mean Bill Clinton, not Obama?" If I said Obama, you're right. Yeah, I meant Bill Clinton. But Barack Obama is one of the greatest examples of what I'm talking about when when I say that there are presidents who they have amazing pop culture value and are just beloved by the media and by the entertainment industry, yet they've accomplished very little. If you think about what Obama did as president, allowing ISIS to get well beyond just a small insurgency and become a global threat. His failure in Crimea, his mishandling of the Arab Spring, his domestic agenda basically being 8 years of, well, I wanted to do this, but nobody would let me, so I did nothing. Barack Obama, I think if you really gave him an honest reckoning, even as a person on the left, you would have to consider a complete failure. His treatment of Julian Assange, which I mentioned in this article, um, his eventual marriage to the banking and Wall Street industries, which when he came into office, it seemed like he was going to clean house and at least do something to hold the people who were responsible for the Great Recession accountable. He didn't do any of that stuff, and because of things like that, there are some people on the left, like Cornel West, who consider him to be a total failure. But because of his cultural cachet, because of the fact that people in Hollywood and people in the entertainment and media industries, they love Obama, they'll basically get on their knees and kiss his feet. He's considered a success, even though he isn't, and he is probably one of the worst presidents in terms of his performance. And if you compare side by side the 8 years of Obama and the 8 years of President Bush, I don't think that you'd actually see that much of a difference. They were both very personable people. One happened to be a white Republican, and the other one happened to be a black Democrat. And their policies were very much the same on a number of levels, and they trafficked in a lot of the same rhetoric, just to somewhat different audiences. But the media hated George Bush because of who he is, and they love Barack Obama because of who he is, not because of what they do. And they were both terrible presidents, so nobody misunderstands me. I think that President Bush was a disgusting failure and a disgrace to the country. And I think certainly now that we've had a year to digest his time out of office, Donald Trump is certainly better better of a president than what the media gives him credit for. But his role in unveiling the vaccine program, the vaccine distribution program, his role in getting it approved on the fast track is something that I can't overlook. I can't forgive, and it's something that I stand firmly on the side of his detractors for. So yeah, I don't think that you can hold any of these people above criticism. And if Donald Trump were to run again in 2024, I would probably look for somebody who is more firmly on the side of skepticism of the big pharma industry and holding these companies accountable and validating people who have stood up against them. And he hasn't done none of those things. So again, please vote in the poll if you haven't voted yet. It is currently 50-50 between yes and TikTok is gay. I want everybody to know by the end of this that TikTok is mega mega gay and nobody should be using it, and I hate it. And I can't vote because I'm the poll creator. Um, but yeah, the TikTok sucks, and I don't want to use it. So, uh, this is an editorial from the Pittsburgh Post Gazette editorial board. It says the year 2021 was supposed to be a return to normalcy. So this is the type of stuff that quote unquote legitimate media brings out in order to claim that they wanted America to return to normal. And who do they blame for it not returning to normal? They blame the previous president. And again, so you already heard me say I will hold him accountable for the things that I think are completely wrong. Just like when he was president, I was very vocal that his airstrikes on Syria were completely wrong. I think he should never have been involved in that. And there were certain errors that I think were forced, and there were certain errors that I think were completely his fault. Um, I see people are launching a backlash, uh, supporting TikTok. So I'm used to taking an unpopular position, but just because the world says TikTok isn't gay doesn't mean that the world is ready for the truth. So TikTok sucks, and the people on it are mostly, the type who wear feather boas to go out with their fanny packs, and that's what they do. And I despise it, and I hate using it, and I try never to click on TikTok links